Advantages of creating a film with a script is, of course, you know what the story is. If you're a good director, a good filmmaker, you'll know how to execute that script. They used to say that the film will never be as good, or it cannot be worse than the script. In other words, if you have a good script, that's everything. So I used to still teach screenwriting, and I have a film that right now is up for Best Original Screenplay in the Amsterdam International Film Festival. It's called Roadkill. It's up for both Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Original Screenplay. So I'm very proud of that. In terms of the advantages of shooting a film that is scripted is you can sit down and plan everything out, or you think you can. What happens is that as soon as you've done, whether you're using storyboard, shot list, or what is called previs, where you pre-shoot using a cell phone or whatever to find out what the shots are and what the compositions of those shots are and the location. Whatever you use, the challenges of the day that you get out to shoot, the reality is going to be in front of you, and you have to be ready for that reality in its ever-changing form. But that's, I think, what artists do, is they have to keep up with the ever-changing truth, and that means keeping up with the weather, keeping up with the emotional content of their actors, with the environment that they're shooting, that's the background. If you're in a studio shoot, not much, it's all controlled. But when you're out in the world, there it is. So if you've got a script, the advantages are you can pre-plan, be very prepared. If you don't have a script, the advantages there is instead of spending years writing a screenplay, which I've done, I have several screenplays, and I think every screenwriter does, that are stacked this high, and it used to be in the past that a screenwriter could make a ton of money. They could make six figures easily, $250,000 a year, just writing screenplays and selling it. Today, that's not possible. You don't get paid for that screenplay until principal photography starts. So once that they're starting to shoot, then the screenwriter gets paid. So that's a kind of disadvantage, is you're sitting around your entire life writing a story and you're never getting it off the ground, and you're waiting for people to come in with money and to give you the green light. Working with without a script, you begin right away working with the actor. And Mike Leigh, this dawned on Mike Leigh when he was at the Royal Academy of London, the drama school. He was crossing from one class to another and saw a group of students painting live nudes. And of course, I don't think it was just the live nude that attracted him, but he went, wait a minute, here I am, going back to my room, and I'm going to spend all this time trying to come up with a story. And there it is right there. There's the living proof, the living form right there. Why do I need to go over here and make a map out or think, how am I going to talk to this person? If I'm going to talk to you, I'm not going to go back to my back room and write a whole screenplay and script it before we have a good conversation. In fact, that would probably keep us from having a conversation. That'll be scripted. You ever feel like you're talking to somebody and it's like they've scripted the whole thing? Film without scripts is really getting to the human element. Morgan Freeman said it really beautifully. He said it's communion. So if you get two really good actors who are able to, it's like jazz too, you play, Coltrane would play a lyric and it would go out there, and then another musician would pick it up and they would take it in their gut and their heart and they blow it out back. So in jazz you keep getting this exchange, this beautiful exchange that Morgan Freeman calls communion. And I look for that in actors, and I think that the immediacy of working 6 months, perhaps like Mike Leigh does, with actors, and then 12 weeks shooting the film, that's 6 months plus 3, that's 9 months to make a feature film that's going to be high quality, compellingly real. It's the performances are going to be superb. That's 9 months. And there are screenwriters out there spending years and years and years writing these. Plus, think of it. Here are the advantages of writing a film without a script, or creating a film without a script. Low budget, because you don't have to go out and build all these sets or hunt for whatever was in the screenplay. You're going out into the real world. So low budget, number one. Number two, for students who don't speak English really well, and they're told you have to write a screenplay before you can go out and shoot. If they can't write beautifully in English, they're held back. So that's a handicap. There's the advantage of getting the environment, letting the environment write itself into the film. So when you go onto a set, you're not going back to the script and saying, oh, this has to be there, that has to be there. You're letting your actors interact with the environment, and that way the environment writes itself into the script. And suddenly it's like, oh, as an artist, I'm keeping up with the real world. Not just with my imagination, but with these real human beings, these actors, who have developed characters based on something out there that's very real, somebody who's out there very real. And they've brought it in, and we're manipulating them in situations and scenes and dramatic conflicts. And the director's job is to know what's going on in each one of their heads without them knowing what's going on. So they don't know the screenplay. They haven't read it. They're thinking of who they are as a character in a situation, and they're just acting that out. And that's very real. And when you see those performances, which we'll see at the festival, that's hopefully that we see some really good films. I think we're going to get a good many this time around.